Hey y'all, I thought I'd show you what I did this weekend. I had some logs to cut, so this is what I got done. The first like three rows there, I did it in a different day, but everything else on up is all stuff I cut yesterday. It was about 4 logs worth. It's all hickory, and there's one little black walnut in there. You can see it right there. That's black walnut. So cutting hickory is fun. I like hickory. I like the boards, but I don't like cutting it. So when I say it's fun, I mean it's not fun, because this shagbark here, when the saw blade hits that, it fractures and goes everywhere. So you'll be getting bits and pieces of bark thrown in your face all the time, and it hurts. So watch out when you're cutting with that. Here is my LM30. I've had it for about, I don't know, 8 months now, something like that, and I really like it. I got the extension, so I can cut up to like 16 foot logs. The frame here is an old mobile home frame I had laying around. A lot of guys, they'll cut their own boards to put it on. They'll, 4x6s or something to set their mill on. But I went with this because I had this sitting down there and I had no other use for it. So I just cut it down and shaped it to size, and that's what I did. Here's something I just added a few weeks ago, is these legs made out of just angle iron. It's actually an old chicken house truss I cut down and made them and bolted them to this concrete pad. So before I just had it sitting on a bunch of blocks like this, but the vibrations of the saw would just keep vibrating it and would get me off level. So it's really important that your track is perfectly level. That way you're cutting straight boards. But the vibration of the saw makes that hard to do. So putting these legs on here was definitely an improvement, and I would highly suggest that you bolt down your mills if you at all have the opportunity. And I also went ahead and just tack welded these feet there too while I was doing it, because those wobble too. So anything that moves on your mill that shouldn't, weld it down. That's my suggestion. Here's a little clamp that I fabricated the other day. I'll make a separate video on that. It's really cool and super useful. So watch for that video coming up. One other thing I would suggest, if you have a mill or one of these, is lubricate these dog locks really good. I hadn't used it. It's been snowing and I hadn't used it in a few weeks, and came out here and both of these were seized up so tight that I was afraid I was going to break this handle to get it loosened up. I had to spray it down really good with WD-40. It took me a while, but I finally got them both unseized. Here's a jack I used to raise up the narrow end of the logs to toe board them. So coming around here, here's the lumber scale. It works real well. I really like it. So it's dirty though. I need to clean it. Let me see if I can give y'all will it zoom in there? Yeah. So here's your actual inches. So this shows how much log you've got on there. So if you've got the saw raised up, so I'm raising it right now, and this red line is on the 5, and you just made your cut, then you've got 5 inches left of log. See, now this blue line here is really cool, because over here on this side, so here's your actual inches, they've got it scaled down. So this is 3/4, 4/4, 6/4, and 8/4 and 9/4. So instead of just doing the math in your head for every cut, whoops, let's see if we can get the focus. You can adjust this blue line here. So let's say that you wanted to cut a bunch of 3/4 inch stuff. You would just adjust this blue line up or down. It's actually right there on the three quarter right now. So you'd adjust it onto the 3/4 right there. It's easier with two hands, y'all. There we go. So now, every time you cut, you take the board off, you bring the saw back, and you lower it down. See here? Whoa, 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 whoa. Lower it down all the way to the next. Right there. So now you're gonna cut another 3/4 inch board. So you cut it and you just keep going. So then you lower it down to the next 3/4, all the way down, do. And so that way it's quick and simple, and you're not doing math in your head. And you're not as likely to make a mistake that way. So it's real nice. It would be really cool if they also included 5/8 inch in there, and you know, give even more options would be nice, of course. Over here is the engine. We opted for the 14 horsepower. Go as big as you possibly can. I think it originally was supposed to come with a 10, and then they give you an option of a 14 and then like a 19. So I went with the 14. The 19 was like an extra $1,000, so I didn't do that because I'll go find myself a bigger engine. But you'll want, like, this thing cuts pretty good, but I would rather have a bigger engine. I'm thinking about trying to find myself a electric motor to go in here, maybe a 20 horse, 3-phase or something. So yeah, watch for that. I might make a video on it, because this thing can cut, but the engine's the weak point. So go with the biggest engine you can. I'm really happy that I went for the 14 and not the 10. Down here, this is just a little clamp, you know, from Harbor Freight. So when I'm not using the saw, I always clamp it here. That way, because the wind will catch this saw and just blow it all the way to the end of the track. If it's storming or something or windy. So you don't want that to happen. That's not going to be good for it. So always clamp it down so it doesn't move. Over here's another mod I made. I think most people do this. I just put this hook here, and so then all of the sawdust goes in this bucket. When the bucket's full, I just dump it here in my sawdust pile. To do that, you've got to cut out this here. This comes with safety stuff on it, so people can't stick their hands in there. It's a real nuisance. So the first thing you do when you get one of these saws is just cut that out with a jigsaw or something, Sawzall, because you don't want that, because it backs up the sawdust. Even if you don't have this in the way, it backs up the sawdust and causes problems. So definitely do that first thing. It comes with some other safety features that I didn't like. I unhooked this. I'll probably hook it back up in the future, but that's the safety on-off switch, and it was just a hassle. My kids kept pressing it, and then I'd come out here to start it, and I couldn't start it, and couldn't figure out what was going on. That happened 2 or 3 times, so I just unhooked it, because, yeah, no thanks. It also came with some safety switches to go inside here. So if these covers come off, it automatically kills the engine. And so I just didn't mess with hooking those up. I got those in the bag in the house. No thanks, don't need that. I can take care of myself. And I'll put that back on later. One other thing is, if I were y'all, I would definitely get rid of that. This is for the water tank to lubricate the saw blade. It just takes water. So it's, you know, it is what it is. But this here is too small, and it's hinky, and it's hard to get adjusted, so you're only putting a little bit of water on, not a lot. So I want to go with something bigger. If y'all have an idea on what would work better than this, let me know in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. It's a pain in the butt. And in fact, oh yeah, if y'all order one of these, this tank here came with no hole pre-drilled. So I got the thing, and there was no hole, and it didn't say in the instructions what to do, and I wasn't sure. I had lost the grommet that goes in here, the seal, and so I couldn't find that. Eventually I did, and then I realized what they wanted me to do. So I just drilled the hole myself and put it in there. No big deal, but it was confusing because everything else was in the most things. The instructions for this thing is really, really elaborate, very well made. I made it super simple to put together, and then I got to this point, and it was like, well, what do they want me to do? It doesn't tell me anything. It just says install it. install the tank on top. And I did that, and there was no hole. So it was really kind of funny. But easy to fix. So anyhow, that is my update on what I did this weekend. Got a bunch of wood cut. This stuff here is just on top to weight it down and to keep it safe from the sun and whatnot. So yeah, that's that. Y'all have any questions, ask in the comments. Please like and subscribe, and have a good day.